Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and I was wrong. What was I wrong about, you ask? Well, over a year ago, I did this video right here, and I was very adamant that everyone is yelling and screaming and saying how they want 6-inch vehicles, 1/12 scale vehicles, and I was adamant saying, you say you want them until you get them, and then you realize just how big they are, and then they occupy too much time. Well, we're well past that year mark. We've gotten the Hiss tank, we've gotten the Vamp, we've gotten the Ferret, and the Tiger Paw, and Trouble Bubbles, and Rams, and we have a Dragonfly coming, and a Rattler has now funded. But it's not just GI Joe that's doing it. It's many other brands, such as the Valaverse Vanguard, Ramen Toys with a tank and a bread van, and other things. We have the Robo Skull, which will eventually come, I hope. I'm pointing here like it's going to be there, and hopefully my editing skills will be there. Along with many other vehicles that are coming. And I'm not going to showcase all of them, but I'm a man enough that I can admit that I was completely wrong. I felt that these things would outgrow a room, outgrow your display. Sure, there would be people that want them. There would be people doing photography. But that's kind of where it would end. And I really used what happened with Star Wars. The Black Series TIE Fighter and Snowspeeder that nobody wanted. That these were going to be not only too big, but too expensive. Well, the thing that we've learned is that a HasLab is going to run you anywhere from $275 to $325 when it comes to the Joe vehicles. But we are willing to pay $100 for a Vamp, $55 for a Ferret and a Trouble Bubble and a Ram Cycle. If you can look over here, you can see the Fortnite boat that everyone converted into a GI Joe. That thing was $78, I believe, when it came out. Don't get me wrong, they ended up at Ollie's for $15. And a lot of these Ram Cycles ended up at Target for 15 to 20 bucks. But that's beside the point. We still have Mythic Legions with their horses. We have guys like Random Diorama who's creating computer consoles. Not 3D printed. These are handcrafted computer consoles that he does. Here I have the Cobra sled, right? 3D printed. This is something that, if they make it, it's going to be around a $55 price point. Ooh, he fell. And obviously you can still see the Skyhawk. And I will leave a link to the video that I did in the description and also at the end of this. But what I kind of wanted to say was I was completely wrong. And I think the question now becomes, just how big are we willing to go when it comes to this stuff? You can see my NECA display, the street scene, which I think is absolutely awesome. If you don't have one, it's something that I think that you should invest in. It creates a wonderful display, whether it just be figures that you can stand up there or doing displays and different things like that. This thing here is a nice chunky size. Let's grab the tape measure quickly. If you don't have one, I'm going off camera here. Don't worry about that. You know, this thing is going to run you 25 inches wide. It's roughly 13 inches deep. And then I'm not going to go to the top of the display there, but 19 inches tall. That's pretty large. So that asks, you know, can we get our Checkpoint Alpha? Are other people going to do different displays like that? Whether it be Valaverse. Ramen Toys is really all about doing different stuff like that. And now Chris McLeod of the Full Force kind of let us slip that we might be getting a GI Joe HQ, the headquarters. At the end of their live stream for San Diego Comic-Con, they showed the Cobra Claw, which is another small vehicle that we're getting. Not to mention the Stinger that is also on its way, which there's also rumors of an All-Striker possibly next year, which seems kind of crazy considering that would kind of be skipping the Vamp Mark II, which, let's be honest, we got the Vamp, the Stinger, the Vamp Mark II is just the common progression. So anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought. But the question now becomes, how large are we willing to go? Now, we're not getting a USS flag. That would be too big. It cannot be scaled down. The original flag is scaled down, and it's 7.5 feet long. You're not scaling it down. It's just not possible. Could they go with the size of a Terradrome? Could they do a half a Terradrome like I had mentioned? Hey, you know what would be an awesome HasLab? To do a half a Terradrome. But if you bought 2 of them, you could put them together and have your whole Terradrome. But a half one, before people go flip out, understand you can push it against your wall. You still have the fire bat that comes with it. Now, if you bought 2, you'd obviously get 2 fire bats. But if you combine them and put them together, you would have one coming out. We've seen one printed up. I'll drop a link to that guy's Facebook page. His Instagram, Plastic Fantastic, or Fantastic Plastic. I always get the 2 mixed up. I apologize. You know I know who you are. But yeah, there's so many things. And how big can a GI Joe headquarters be? So on the San Diego Comic-Con panel at the end, they were showing the Cobra Claw. And they made a comment about there being an Easter egg. Now, the only Easter egg that people could see was there was someone on the back of one of the claws, other than the GI Joe headquarters. Now, the headquarters has been used in the past on, I forget who else it was on. I think it was actually Scrap Iron. So we've seen the headquarters in the back. And Lenny actually made a comment to Tony, and he said, hey, you better know what it is. You've seen it or you've worked on it, something like that. But Chris McLeod, kind of, from what I understand, I didn't watch the live stream. It was sent over to me by my moderator that said, hey, he kind of slipped and said the headquarters. Don't run with this. Don't say that I'm spreading rumors. Just something that Chris McLeod does not make these mistakes, except for the Iron Grenadier bat. So anyway, the biggest question when it comes to all of this stuff, we're seeing how big people will print the 3D or the 1/12 scale stuff. We're seeing what the 4 Horsemen, Mythic Legion, what they will make. Obviously, as I mentioned, this awesome horse, one of the best horses you're going to find in that scale, and it fits either 7-inch figures or 6-inch figures. Todd McFarlane Toys, is making Batmobiles, Batplanes, all kinds of stuff in a 7-ish inch scale. So, and then you also have Gridiron, that they're also jumping in there, making smaller units that will fit. So that's really what I wanted to say. I did a whole video. It's one of my biggest videos that I've done, which isn't very big, over 6,000 views. I know a lot of people get way more than that. But I don't want people to continue to go back to that and say, hey, this is what this guy said. He's a big guy in the GI Joe community. He's saying this. Why is he saying this? That was done before the His Tank came out. And I did it on what I've seen with the Star Wars stuff, what I see with the Masters of the Universe stuff, the Origins that just kind of sits there. That's that's built off 5.5. Stuff like this here, this Stridor. It does fit Masterverse stuff. The Wind Raider, which I actually did mention in the first video. But I really did think that when you were doing stuff, gonna knock all this stuff. And again, You know, I got stuff back here that is made for the 6-inch stuff. So when I actually referenced this Skyhawk that I 3D printed and I showed how big it was, I'm like, people aren't going to want to do this. But someone is doing a Skyhawk. I think it's only a matter of time before Hasbro does their own. And you're going to be looking at a $100 price point. I really didn't think that people would be spending $100 on all these vehicles. I watch it. Not only do I do it, I watch people that are buying 5 of them or more. There are people that I've talked to that have already backed 4 Cobra Rattlers, which is $325. There are people that are buying the Valiverse Vanguard, which is $185. They've bought all the colors that they can get, the 2 different colors. People are waiting on the mud one. The Ramen toy stuff, they have for... it's $140 right now. Eventually, it'll be like $180 a tank. But if you want it to be a not Wolverine or a not Bridge Layer, there's accessory kits that you can make, that you can buy to make it. All that is extra, and I really don't see this stopping. As you can see, even in the back here, which people have famously asked about, the portal potty that's back here that was 3D printed. So there's so many things. I was 100% completely wrong. I'm at the point where I go, is it time to take down my 1/18th room? I mean, I have my childhood flag, so that's just not going to happen. But when you just start looking at everything and you have a Rattler that's almost 3x3, the Dragonfly, I believe, is 3 feet long. But that's different. It's skinnier. The propellers are turning. There's just so much that's going to be done. And, you know, like I said, I have to be a man of my word and admit that I was completely wrong. So, if you want to watch that video, I will drop a link to it in the description, but I'm also going to post it right here at the end. Other than that, that was it. I just kind of wanted to do this little video and discuss it and say, hey, you know what? I think there's more coming. I have a feeling we're going to end up eventually with the Thunder Machine. We'll probably end up with the Snowcat, which I think is a dicey proposition considering there's a lot of people that have never really seen snow. I don't know how much they really want that, but it seems like a lot of those people in the desert like the snow stuff an awful lot. But anyway, that's it. I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. I do appreciate you guys all watching this. You guys all know how big this stuff is. My lights went out, so you got to turn it back on. I don't care what anyone says. That feature is awesome. And in the winter, when it's so dark, when I'm leaving for work, I hit this every time. I actually leave it so the Cobra symbol is open. I don't know how, or there's a space there so you can see it. Yes, I'm that much of a nerd. So when the Dragonfly comes, I don't know how I'm going to display that. But I got a little bit of time. Like probably till December before I have to figure that one out. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. If you like this type of content, you like this stuff, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification. Also, please take a second, jump on Instagram, A Punk with Toys. That's where you can find me. And also there's a Facebook group page, Punks with Toys. Now, don't go anywhere. Again, watch the original video where I was a complete buffoon and said, hey, we all want these, but as soon as they get, you know, once we start getting them, no one's going to want them. I was an idiot. That video is right here. And down here, we'll just put the Vamp video so you can see exactly what I think of this stuff. Take care.